It's time once again to slip into your camo, grab your bow, and join us out in the field for another episode of the Up North Journal, presented by PSE Archery. The Up North Journal crew is knocked and ready to rock for another exciting adventure. So let's step outside and hit the trail.
Welcome back to another episode of the Up North Journal, everybody. I'm host Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFaw. Before we get started, we want to help you save some money.
That's right, folks. Don't forget to use our promo codes to save that money. And let's start off with buckbaits.com. That's right, the brick and mortar store of Buck Baits down at Sterling Heights, Michigan at 15 and Dodge Park. Go over there. If you're on the website, buckbaits.com, use the promo code UNJ20. That will get you 20% off your order.
For those of you who are looking for Easy Cut products, make sure you go to easycutproducts.com. And when you're there, use the UNJ promo code UNJ15 off to save 15% off your order.
And let's not forget Lincoln Rohn over at PackerMaxx.com. It's never too early, never too late to think about the PackerMaxx. Go on over to PackerMaxx.com, use the promo code UNJ25. That'll get you $25 off your order over at PackerMaxx Outdoors.
For those of you looking for some new firearms and firearm products, make sure you go over to the islandarmory.com. While you're there shopping, use the promo code UNJ10 to save 10% off your order there.
If you shot that bird of a lifetime and you want it mounted, don't forget Troublesome Creek Taxidermy. We've had them live on the show. We've talked to them. You want to get 10% off your order, go to Facebook, go to troublesome.creek.7, find their website. If you go to our website, UNJ, make sure to click on the button to download the form. You get 10% off over there using the code UNJ10.
Looking for that game call, whether it be a squirrel, whether it be goose, duck, deer, make sure you go to JPO Game Calls. Look for them at jpogamecalls.com, and while you're there shopping, use the UNJ10 promo code to save 10% off your order.
And Miller Deer Tracking, the man that seems to never sleep during deer season. Get 20% off your next deer tracking using the promo code UNJ20. Look for Miller Deer Tracking on Facebook or give him a call over at 810-240-4891.
Looking for the hottest new plastics to take on the water, whether it be hard water or soft water? Make sure you go over to southernindianabaitco.com. While there, use the UNJ promo code UNJ10 to save 10% off your order.
Deer Camp Coffee, folks. We drink it every night on the show. You want to try it? You can go to the brick and mortar store at 15 and Dodge Park at Deer Camp itself, or go to deercampcoffee.com. Also use our promo code UNJ10. You get 10% off your order. And don't forget, get a bag of the UNJ medium roast blend there as well.
All right, Danny, where's our live view camera look from tonight?
Good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night. Our live camera look, looking out over, way up in Marquette, looking out over Lake Superior. It looks like a north wind blowing in where it's 39 degrees.
39.
39. But look at the blue sky.
Yeah.
And barely a cloud up there, right?
And there's no ice on the water.
I was waiting for an iceberg to come in, right? You know, but there's a great spring shot of the Lake Superior, looking down 41 up there in Marquette. I don't see any snow, so I think it's a safe bet. We have officially hit spring, at least in the UP up in Marquette. The wind is calm, and we are live starting our
what? Our podcast.
What season?
17th season. We started actually back. First thing I want to know, how much are we paying this guy to rotate this camera?
Well, you have to understand.
Is that in our budget?
It's a few pasties.
Welcome to the show tonight. What Danny's referring to, this is our anniversary date. 16 years ago tonight was our very first podcast. So it's officially our 17th season, January 1st, but this show's anniversary date is tonight. So happy birthday to UNJ, 16 years.
16 years doing UNJ, and there's another birthday in the family.
That's right. My youngest son, Jacob. Some of you may remember him from probably 10 years ago, maybe a few more than that. He was helping me with the Up North Journal podcast. Tonight is his 24th birthday, so I'm officially old.
You are. Don't have to.
3 days older than dirt.
Right?
So
you are older than dirt. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Happy anniversary. Happy birthday, Jacob. Man, we got sunshine.
Yeah, we do.
Last couple of days, it was kind of
Yeah.
Turkey season started here in Michigan. It's going pretty good.
You been out?
I have been out. I've seen a few longbirds, but
he didn't tell the whole story.
No, we don't have time for that.
Well, he scared one away.
Yeah.
And our guest is laughing too.
I knew where he was, and I had to know my boundaries, and he was staring at me and said, I'm out.
Yeah, you didn't know where your boundary was, right?
Yeah, right. So I had him, though.
Yeah.
I knew exactly. He was exactly in the area I wanted him to be.
Okay.
But, yeah. So congratulations to the people that have been successful getting birds, and good luck to the people that have till Friday in the first week.
Yeah. And then the people in the second week, good luck to you, and people the rest of the season.
Absolutely. Good luck to you all.
So, you ready to get into it tonight?
You know what? I think we need to go out to Western Michigan to the man, the myth, the legend they call Lincoln Rohn.
Hey, Lincoln, what's going on tonight?
Hey, how you guys doing?
We're doing all right. I had to give Danny a good ribbon there. We'll tell that story some other time.
Yeah, we'll tell that story. Lincoln, the sun is shining over there on the west side. It's shining on the east side, I think.
We got a little sun out here.
Welcome to the show.
Right my side window blinding me, so.
Right. Welcome to the show. It's good to have you on again.
Thank you. Good to be here. Happy 16 or 17-year anniversary.
Yeah, 16
quite an honor.
16 years and 17th season we kicked off. So
crazy.
Show number 686 tonight. Who would have thunk it?
Oh, wow.
Doesn't even seem possible.
Right?
That is awesome. Very cool.
But we get to talk to good people like you, so that's what makes it fun and makes it easy. So.
Cool.
Before we get into the PackerMaxx and your announcement that you made a couple of weeks ago, you've got something you want to say. A good friend from the 5-2 Outdoors. If you would like to go ahead and say a few words, the show will be dedicated to Dale Wallace tonight. So go ahead.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Dale was a very good friend of mine, and has been very good to us and PackerMaxx, and selling his seed in our shop for the last 4 years has been nothing but a great partnership with him. And I appreciate the show being dedicated to Dale. He passed away this past Monday morning. I got a phone call from his wife that he had gone to be with the Lord, and it was a hard-fought battle. He battled like a champion, and he made it a long ways, and it just ended up being more than he could fight. And I think the Lord just said, okay, we're taking you home now, and when that happens, it's time to go. So he's just a wonderful man. He would give you the shirt right off his back, and just one example, he was at the shop, and we were dropping some seed off, and we were talking, and Jeremiah, my son, he loved giving Jeremiah a hard time. And Jeremiah said, hey, we're going to be planting our lease down in Van Buren County. And he goes, do you know anywhere, any place around there we can run a tractor with a tiller? And he goes, well, I got one. He said, I'll come up and do it for you. And both of us looked at each other like, what? And I said, you don't have to do that. And he's like, no, I'll come up and I'll come up and bring my tractor up. So I got a trailer and all that. So he came up and spent the day with Jeremiah and my son Justin, and got their plots done. And I mean, who does that? You know what I mean? Like, it's just that was just the kind of guy he was. And he's going to be missed. And through this whole process, we've had many conversations, and it became quite obvious, when they told him he was going to need a heart transplant, that he wasn't going to be able to do the 5-2 Outdoor Seed Company anymore, unfortunately. And so him and I had a pretty good conversation about how we're gonna do this, and how we're gonna move forward with Best Outdoors acquiring the 5-2 Outdoors business. And so we bought 5-2 Outdoors from him, and started the takeover operations, and getting equipment moved, and it's been a pretty big undertaking. And for Dale to do a lot of the legwork, we'll call it, from a hospital bed was incredible. To get me everything I needed, to be successful moving forward. Documents, blends, you name it. and he did that from a hospital bed, and while he was on a pumping his heart, and it was really awesome because last week we had originally, when I talked to him, I told him we're probably going to end up changing the name. It just made sense to put it under the Best Outdoors umbrella. And the more I thought about it, I just said, you know what? No matter what happens with Dale, I want to keep the name the same. I want to keep that 5-2, and because there's a story behind that. And so I called him and I said, hey, I just want to let you know that I've been giving it some thought, and I said I want to keep the 5-2 name in honor of you. And he's just like, he was pretty moved by that. So it was pretty cool. And so then a couple days later, we're talking about redoing the logo and stuff. And I said, I got, my team put together 5 or 8 logos. And I said, I'd like you to, I want your input on these. And so he picked out, I said, pick out 2. And so he picked out logo 2 and logo 6. And he said, but I really like logo 2. And so we're going with logo 2. So
is that the one on the current Facebook page?
Yes. Yep, that's the new logo that we're going with. That's the one Dale picked out before he passed. So that's the one.
There you go.
So and through this, like I said, it's been very hard to watch a friend, go through what he's gone through, and he has just been an incredibly strong person through this, fighting for his life, number one, and keeping a positive attitude. And I mean, he had bad days, there's no question, but he had seemingly had more good days than bad days. Kept very optimistic, and I have no doubt that had this pump not broke, that he would still be with us and fighting. But once that happened, and I think it just took too much to recover after a 9-hour surgery, and he never woke up. So went peacefully with his family surrounding him, and at the end of the day, that's all we can ask for.
Absolutely. So, nothing better than being surrounded by family and friends, the ones that care about you the most. But obviously a sad day, but a new beginning for Passed On. He'll be remembered in the logo. And we'll talk about that. We'll let that go for a little bit. We'll come around back to that. But how is PackerMaxx doing? We talked with Robbie Pruitt a little bit, got some inside scoop about how the shows went, talked to you a little bit. So we are officially into spring planning, and how is PackerMaxx doing?
Oh, it's been another whirlwind. I mean, we go. It seems like it. Once the new season, we get through January, then all of a sudden we roll right into the show season. And as Robbie would attest to, he does more shows than we do even. But 8 weeks straight, we were doing shows, or I did take a vacation, which really didn't turn out to be that much of a vacation, as you guys are aware.
It was a good vacation for me, Lincoln. I don't know why you had a problem down there.
It was still a good vacation, but I mean, it was some challenges along the way. But no, it was great, to be down there. And we have friends that live down there too, and so unfortunately, we never got a chance to hook up while we were both down there at the same time. Yeah, we tried, but yeah. So you go, you roll right into that busy season, and you come out of show season, you take a deep breath, and then you buy another company and add all that to the equation, and then PackerMaxx is still, we're still trying to operate that and get, dealers fulfilled, and thank God for our fulfillment company, man. They have been rock stars, and when we brought them all the equipment from 5-2, and they're going to be doing all of our seed packaging and shipping too. And I mean, days, and they were set up and ready to rock. And they're absolute professionals, and we literally wouldn't be as far ahead as we are without them. So,
life will steamroll you if you let it. It takes a lot to run companies and to do what we do in the outdoors. On top of that, and hang with family and friends and try to plan vacations.
Well, that's why I'm sitting in the car tonight, because we're at my grandkids' house, and hadn't seen them in a minute. And my wife said, let's go over to the kids' house. I'm like, all right, but I got to do a podcast tonight, and so that's why I'm in the car.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see them here before the end of the show. Maybe they'll come piling in on you.
Yeah, they might.
That's all right, man. That's cool. That's good stuff. So.
Well, it is so good to hear that you're off and running for another season of PackerMaxxing, and I think we're coming up on our first break.
Yeah, we can do that.
So when we come back, we'll continue talking about PackerMaxx and what we need to do this spring.
All right, we're going to take a quick step outside, and we'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has reinvented the way you buy bows.
From now on, you can make the most educated decision possible
by basing your bow choice specifically on your shooting needs and goals.
All you need to do is ask yourself, what kind of shooter am I? What do I want to achieve?
PSE will help find the right category for you.
So, what kind of shooter are you?
Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Second segment of the show, talking with Lincoln Rohn of Best Outdoors, PackerMaxx, and 5-2 Outdoors now. So everything's growing over here on the west side of the state. And speaking of growing, it's growing season. So, we've talked to you a lot before about, spring food plots, what to do, how to do it, all this, that, and the other. We talked about soil samples, all the kind of stuff that goes along with it. If you had one little trick to try something and not give away anything secret, but maybe some guy, he's done the same thing every year, and everything works out, but he wants to try something a little different this year. What's one thing that somebody could throw out there to try and maximize what they're doing?
Oh,
I know it's a tough question. It's pretty broad, but just general.
Because there's a lot of details that go into successful food plotting and growing a viable food plot. So I'm going to say, if you've never done any just for something new, like a lot of guys aren't using screen. They're not utilizing it to they have this big open food plot. Try just putting some perimeter screening around, nothing crazy, and then do some islands within that food plot. Just take your, if you're tilling, take your tiller and do a one pass, one width, maybe 6 or 8 feet long, and put some of this, our screen mix, our magician, and just because deer like structure, they hold tight to cover, and when you have this big open area, they're a whole lot more likely to come into that open area if you have some structure. They're just like bass. If you have a tree in the middle of a pond, guess where all the bass are going to be?
Right.
Same thing with deer. If you put a couple of these islands of screen, just sporadic in there, they're going to concentrate in and around those, and it'll help. I think it'll help the daytime activity within your food plot. It'll help them feel more at ease, feeding in there, take their, maybe some of their alertness level down just a notch. And I think that would be, one thing that some guys could try to really up their daytime food plot usage from deer, whether it be does, bucks, whatever.
Okay.
Now, when you do something like that, obviously one of the most important things to do is to get that soil sample, that magician, that screening mix that has the Egyptian wheat, the sorghum in it, and the Sudan grass. What pH level should we have that soil to get the most out of it?
Well, your optimum pH is going to be, for anything is going to be around 6.8. That's like premium, 6.8, 6.7, 6.8. That sorghum blend, that magician actually does relatively well in a little bit lower pH as well. The only problem when you start talking about planting something in a little lower pH is because you're not going to utilize the available nutrients to that plant. basically keeps it bound up in the soil and doesn't let the plants take it up. So if you can get that to that, that 6.5 to 6.8 range, I'll say, that's when you're going to be right in the wheelhouse of your optimum growing conditions.
All right, and you talked about creating islands. Are you creating islands with that screen mix?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Also, I know, depending on how big your field is, but having those islands, it kind of makes the deer move. Also, they just can't stand on the edge, like the buck's coming to the edge of the field and be able to scan the whole entire field and go,
get out and work the field.
Make them, I've seen several different types of islands, as Lincoln has called them, but it definitely gets them to keep that moving through the field. Smaller fields, obviously, you can get a smaller island in, but those bigger fields that, they need to walk, make them do some work to get through the field if it's getting close to the rut.
Well, one thing that I've heard guys try before is dirtying an edge. You got a junk tree or whatever. Instead of having this perfectly rectangular field, I mean, I know it's going to cause a little more work for the planning for the tractor or whoever's driving and plowing. But fall a tree in that edge and leave it there to make them work around some edges. Don't have them perfect edges.
Yep. Yeah, a soft edge is a good way to kind of call it. And then you can even a lot of people are using they'll use like a wall of screen to try to block off the visual line of sight through that great big field. Well, do it by doing these islands. You're also breaking that line of sight to your point where they actually have to come and move through that to kind of see. I even use one of my main food plots that I hunt a significant amount over is only about a third of maybe a half of an acre at the most, and I still put a few of those islands in there, and I do a perimeter screen, and I don't necessarily need it to be 14 feet tall. I mean, I just need like a 5 foot, just enough to kind of give them break up that visual line. And they feel a lot more comfortable. You don't want to block them in. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to like totally enclose them, but just so you can break up that visual line, and it seems to really help.
Well, like you said, especially if you're hunting like a hardwoods coming into a food plot, because you can see a long ways in a hardwoods, right? Or you're going from field to field, and if you're standing in one field and you can see a long ways, you just want to kind of make them work for it.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. Yep. And then the more secure that they feel into that field, the more likely they are to come into that during daylight hours. So, and that's what we all want, obviously.
Yeah, right. We want them in daylight hours, right? We've seen enough of them on trail cam in the dark, right?
Yep.
So how's you got the screen going, and that's one of the tips. Obviously, making sure you got the right pH. Getting a tiller in there, or however you get it, get that ground broken up. But should we be getting it into the ground now, or can we hold off? What for, like that sorghum, the Egyptian? Is that a plant now and get it all season long?
No, you want to wait till soil temps are. It's most of your spring plantings, with the exception of clover. You're going to want to wait till soil temps are in the 60s, mid 60s. Soybeans, iron clay cowpeas, sorghums, all that, most of those spring mixes, lab, you're gonna want that soil temp in the 60s, mid 60s.
So about the time after turkey season.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. For sure.
So speaking of turkey season, planting for birds, we don't really talk about that a lot. What have you got? Yeah, what have you got that works with along with that, maybe to give a small food platform to come through and pick bugs?
So this has been our go-to for years, and basically what we do now, we plant our cereal grains in our hunting plots in the fall. Okay, we use our grain bin. We've been running that for about 4 years now. That's a blend of cereal rye, wheat, oats, and peas, and then we top seed those all of our hunting plots, we have 11 of them on our property. All of those get top seeded with a blend of our daily meal and our red clover mix, the Frosty.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll top seed those in the fall, pack it all in. In the fall, that starts to get, the clover starts to set its feet. You do get quite a bit of clover growth also, but it's mainly concentrating on putting that root system together. And then what happens then over winter, the first thing that pops in the spring is that clover.
Okay.
And I wish if I could do it on my phone, if I was on my computer, I could show you. But I've gotten so many pictures in the last 2 weeks, and I didn't draw for our first season up in Newaygo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just waiting for the 6th. But I've been getting longbeard after longbeard after longbeard on our property, on our big fields in the clover. And they got clover and chicory, and that stuff is greening up like crazy. And they're just in there, they're bugging it, they're eating it, they're strutting in it. We're getting pictures of hens and toms, throughout the day. That's a solid mix, and a lot of guys don't take that in consideration for their turkey hunting. Is those clover fields with they are money for those turkeys in the spring.
So maximize your planning efforts. Maximize your planning efforts. So you got something for the spring for the birds.
Yeah, and the other thing too is we don't. I mean, there's still a few of our bigger plots that we do that we plant in summer forage.
Mm-hmm.
However, all of our interior plots we don't have to plant because they're all in clover. I'll go in like say in March after the snow's melted. I'll go in, I'll top seed all those plots with that Frosty and frost seed it. I even took it a step further this year on several of them. I frost seeded and then I cultivated with PackerMaxx,
mm-hmm.
just to make sure that seed gets down in there, and then that also helps to thicken that up. And I'm telling you, all summer we have beautiful clover all summer that we don't even have to plant. I mean, it's already there from the fall before, and then when we just kind of repeat that process in the fall. We replant our cereal grains. We lightly till that green manure in, and that's building your soil. It really has been solid for us. It's turned up, that Newaygo County sand. We've got a very nice loam soil now. A lot of guys comment on the color of our soil. How'd you get that soil in Newaygo County? Well, it's from organic material.
You got to work at it to get it. It just doesn't.
It doesn't happen overnight.
Very, very rarely will you walk into a piece of land and go, "Wow, look at this dirt."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's perfect. But no, you put, like you said, you put the time in. You added to it. You worked it. And how many years have you been planting food plots now?
I've been planting on our property up there probably going on 25 years.
So 25 years of working that soil.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you really foobarred it, you should have some really good soil.
Mm-hmm.
We do. We've got top notch, and we've learned a lot. I mean, I've made everybody says, well, what's your background? And I've made a lot of mistakes. I've tried everything, and I've made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned from my mistakes. And I guess that's what makes me, a successful food plotter. That I did a consultation up in Cadillac last year, and that guy had some pretty big names in there, and he was not successful growing plots. I went in there, I gave him a plan. I told him, right from day one, what to do and when to do it and how to do it and what to plant. I put a skid of seed and fertilizer, because we use the Plot Doctor liquid fertilizer, put that all together on a skid, sent it to his property, and with basically instructions on what to do and how to do it. He's like, I need you to dumb it down, so I just need to know what bag I need to put on what plot. And
Mm-hmm.
so I had all set up. He did it, and it just makes me tickled. Him and his hunting partner, they both killed beautiful bucks, Michigan bucks, up in Cadillac. I think they shot, between the two of them, they shot 3 bucks that were over 125 inches. And that's from not even being able to get a food plot to barely grow to having beautiful, lush plots. I mean, it's something that we've been doing, and you know we know how to get it done. We know what works, and this especially in Michigan. I mean that's where our mainstay is, but those same principles apply across the country. So
well, and and that's another thing that plays into your resume. When you tell somebody, what's your background? I've been doing it for 25 years, and I failed. And I got right back up on it, and I tried this, and I tried that. And, makes me want to ask you the question, what's your worst fail ever? Did you, kill a field? What was, in your mind, what was one of those, yeah.
You won't be doing that again.
Yeah, that was an F-up.
Well, my uncle would, he's probably laughing up in heaven right now, because I absolutely had no business back in the day being on a tractor. I didn't know what I was doing, how to do it, but I thought it's going to be a good idea for me to get on our Farmall M with the 3-bottom plow behind it and plow this field. And to this day, that field is a bumpy mess because I did it right. I had furrows. It was a disaster. That was my biggest fail.
But you were turning some ground, though.
I was turning ground. Holy crap! It was not pretty. And then I dissed it, dragged it, and tried to smooth it out. But to this day, there's still troughs in it.
That's funny. That and every time you go into that field and you trip over at one of those hills, you're like, yeah, I did that.
Yep,
I do.
And it like you said, but it's just trial and error. And if I'd rather have somebody that, if you would talk to somebody that they've done it, not, well, it should come like this. Well, it's like when you go to a salesman of whatever, and you look at them and go, well, do you own one of these? And they go look at you and go, no. Well, then how do you know it's good for me, right?
Right.
Well, I'm a salesman. Yeah.
Right. I think that's the thing when we bought PackerMaxx was I had used that product 10 years prior.
Right.
And I loved it. It was like the missing link to our food plot program. And it took our food plots. We were putting in good food plots, but it took our plots from good to great. And it's just, I can't explain to people how big of a difference it makes. And there's a reason farmers have been using cultipackers for generations, and that's because they work.
That's
huge.
Absolutely true. They've been farmers have been doing it for a long time, and you kind of see the equipment you're using, and here you are, wait a minute. But I tell you what, we're going to come up onto our second break here. And people, if you're listening to the show, don't forget, go over to PackerMaxx.com, check out the website. He's got a list of all the PackerMaxxes he's got over there. He's got the new 5.2 Outdoors over there as well. And also you can visit them on Facebook as well. So we're going to take a break, and we'll be back for our third segment.
We're going to step outside. We'll be right back after this.
PSE Archery has always dominated the speed category. Now, the most revolutionary cam system ever to hit the market has perfected the shooting experience. Introducing PSE's Evolve Cam System, featuring extremely high let-off capabilities and the smoothest draw cycle in history. No other cam system has ever delivered this level of total comfort and total control. Experience PSE. Experience performance.
Welcome back. Third segment of the show. We're sitting here chatting away with Lincoln Rohn from PackerMaxx and Best Outdoors, new owner of 5.2 Outdoors. And we've talked a little bit about that tonight. And you wanted to expand on something?
When we first met Lincoln back in the years ago.
A few years back.
Yeah, it's a few years now, right? He had PackerMaxx.
Yeah.
And as PackerMaxx started to gain some traction and started running full bore, he started to add attachments, whether it be the crimper or the 2-inch ball hitch conversion kit, the wheel kit. He's got several different options for the PackerMaxx itself. I can talk. Lincoln, what has been the most or the one item that you brought on board that has really taken PackerMaxx to that next level?
I would have to say, I mean, it's been a kind of a building process for first of all to get people to understand what a cultipacker is and was and how it works and why it works and all that. So once that was established, we really started taking off, and then we added that crimper, and we have sold a ton of crimpers this year. They just keep going, and that kind of that no-till method is really caught on. It's not for everybody, it's not for every situation, but it does have a lot of merit, and guys are definitely embracing that, and that's been a very good addition to the PackerMaxx line, is that crimper. So
there you go.
There you go. So, and then as you move down from the crimper, now this year, just recently announced the acquisition of 5-2 Outdoors. So
yep.
You're going to put that's all going to be under the umbrella of Best Outdoors, correct?
Yeah, yep. So Best Outdoors is our company name, and then PackerMaxx is a product of Best Outdoors. It's a registered trademark. And then 5-2 Outdoors, which is now going to be 5-2 Seed Company, is also under that umbrella of Best Outdoors. So one thing that we are adding, and I haven't launched it yet because we have some work to do yet, but we have invested in a new mold this year. We are super excited about it. The mold is done. It's for a 6-foot PackerMaxx. It's going to be all one piece, and we get so many questions from, you have the 4 and the 8, well, do you have anything in between? It's always been, no, I don't. Well, now we do. So in about a few days, as a matter of fact, we're going to be getting our first runs off of that mold, and then we have to put it through our testing process, and then just ensure that everything's good, the sidewall thickness, just everything's good, and then we've got the metal prototypes already ready to go, bolt on as soon as we get those drums. We're going to start dragging it behind quads and side by sides and beating the snot out of it, and assuming everything is a go, we don't have to make any changes. You'll start seeing that 6-footer out there in probably about 3 to 4 weeks. So pretty excited about that. That's going to be a whole nother. I know that there's going to be a lot of people that have the 4-footer that are going to buy that 6-footer.
So is that going to be a strictly pull behind? Or are you going to be able to add that to the 3-point system, or?
Our plan is to make it a 3-point as well. And again, we have to do the testing. Make sure that, when we lift that thing up off the ground, that we use a high carbon, high magnesium stainless steel rod. And we want to make sure that stretch in there. And then we have shallowed the grooves just a tiny bit on there, and we're gonna do a blowing agent in there, so it's gonna stiffen that drum. And so when we pick it up, we just need to make sure that's going to be able to withstand that kind of weight. But that's our intention, is to have, it will be a 3-point hitch. We've got all the steel designed for it. It's ready to go. We just got to get the drums and do our testing. So
we're cutting down time on the field.
Yep.
So,
and we're covering, a lot of side-by-sides are over that 4-foot width. And so guys want that, those tires covered.
Right.
And it's going to be I think it's going to be that next, bring us again to that next level that we needed to have a 6-footer. It's been in our back pocket. We just it's a huge investment, and molds are not cheap, and as everybody knows, it's a cast aluminum mold. I mean, the mold is beautiful. So we're stoked about that. That's going to be out. That's going to catapult. So.
Well, we can't wait to see the unveiling of one, so we can promote it here on the Up North Journal, and we'll pass on the information when we see it come from you.
For sure.
So now you've got an actual storefront now, right?
Yeah. Yep,
so people can come over. What are some of the things that somebody's going to be able to walk in and purchase from the storefront?
Yeah, so our main shop, I call it my shop. I don't know, it's just what I've always called it. It's just north of Grand Rapids in Rockford, right? It's right off 131, half a mile. So easy to get to. We've got our full line of 5-2 outdoor seed now, or a 5-2 seed company seed. We've got clovers, brassicas, screening, soil builders, cereal grains. We've got a full line. It's really, and again, it's something that we've used and planted every single blend that he has or that we have now. We've used and planted, and it's excellent seed. So you're gonna be able to buy the seed. You can buy a PackerMaxx of any. Our packaging facility is not very far away. It's in Kent City, so we can, if we don't have something, we can, run over and grab it. We've got habitat hooks from Nick Nation, Nation's Creations habitat hooks. I just got a load of the earth blind water holes, the large water holes. Those things are so cool. They're textured and they're tapered so critters can crawl out. We get pictures of hawks and owls and eagles and deer and coyotes and bears. Everything uses that thing. So we got a load of those today. As a matter of fact, I just unloaded them. We have some sprayers now. We have some chemical. We got glyphosate, 2,4-D. We're gonna have clefidome, and we also carry the full line of Plot Doctor liquid fertilizers and limes. And that stuff there's a lot of science that goes into that, and way more than we can get into on the show. But that stuff is money. It's so much easier spraying a gallon of. You mix a gallon of lime into a 25-gallon sprayer and spread it on an acre. It's the equivalent of putting 1,000 pounds of lime down.
Okay.
And so it's calcium carbonate, and there's 15 pounds of pure calcium carbonate in a ton of ag lime, and there's these gallons are 15 pounds of pure calcium carbonate. So it's already broken down. You're just a direct shot versus having it in all in the lime. So that stuff has been great. And so yeah, I just sold a PackerMaxx.
Right? As you're over there off M57 or 14 Mile Road, as you're traveling down, you're in the red building, look for the trailer out front, and you can stop by and say hi to Lincoln Rohn at his shop, as he likes to call it.
There you go.
So yeah, we pretty much have everything you would need for, and then now we have access to, we have a local distributor that we're working with that we can get discs and tillers and brush hogs and, you name it. So pretty, it's pretty solid. You can stop and we're going to have, pretty much anything you need to put in a high quality food plot. We have soil tests that we can give you the paperwork. You do the soil, you grab the soil, send it in, they send us a report, you get a report, and then we make the recommendations on what you need for Plot Doctor fertilizers and limes based off your soil test. We have all the information right at our fingers. We tell you need a gallon of this, gallon of that, half gallon of that. So
set it all up, one-stop shop.
Yep.
There you go.
So
there you have it, folks. PackerMaxx 52 Outdoors. Make sure you get over and visit them at their website at PackerMaxx Outdoors, or visit them at the Facebook PackerMaxx or 52 Outdoors, all on Facebook. And we've been talking about PackerMaxx. Before the show, we were talking about life, and we were talking about unfortunately what you had to go through watching your friend Dale. Unfortunately, it went downhill, and then which led us to this rabbit hole of
taking a break, and we'll come back and talk about it.
All right, let's do that.
Sorry, we got to get our last break in, so we're gonna take a quick step outside. We come back, we're gonna get a little bit philosophical on you, so we'll be right back after this.
Acceleration is part of PSE's DNA. PSE pioneered the speed movement. Now they've developed the vapor category to help you find the most powerful bows on the market to fit you.
High speed equates to intense power and building the momentum you need to be successful. Are you a vapor shooter? Find out at psearchery.com.
Welcome back. Last segment of the show. For those of you listening on the podcast, you missed a good little science lesson here during the commercial break. So you need to watch the live show.
Yeah, you folks, you know, you it's good that you're listening to us on the podcast, but if you want a little bit more of information, you got to go back to the live Facebook feed or wait for a few days. I'll post this show on YouTube. When you're over there, make sure you subscribe, and you can see what we talked about with the man, the myth, the legend, Lincoln Rohn, in the break.
We had science class.
We did.
Sometimes it's funny stuff.
Right?
Tonight we went to school. So.
Right.
But
we got to listen to Brad. I'm just repeating what Brad said.
Well, there you go. Still, but you know, it's good knowledge. I mean, you know,
yeah.
I kind of spin it a little bit. It kind of leads us into what we want to talk about. You know, the way things are rolling. You know, in life and technology changing, and things change so fast, and situations change, and you know, you're roughly the same age as Danny and I. We're all in that same category. You know, we're looking down the road, and we're looking at retirement, and you know, you just had a good friend who passed probably way too soon, but it gets to the point where, you know, you look at things and what we spend our time on in the outdoors. You know, you were very active, very active in a lot of the things that was pushing deer hunting. You know, I was active a lot in learning more about deer. And food plots and the outdoors and everything, and you get to a point in life where you're just like, man, you know, it's catching up to you, and it's like, where do I want to focus my energy now? What do I want to do with the time I have left? You know, and you know, expand on that a little bit about, you know, where you're at.
Well, as you guys know, I've spent a lot of time, like you said, in trying to get, you know, regulation changes here in Michigan, and have gotten virtually nowhere. You know, we built this Facebook platform, Michigan Deer Hunters Let Them Go and Let Them Grow. You know, I founded that group. We are now sitting somewhere around 44,000 members, and those are all people that are like-minded in passing young, letting them go and letting them grow to one extent or another. And so I think that you know, through the process of working with the DNR and trying to get these things implemented, it's just, I mean, literally has taken all of it out of me. Like I literally have just given up. Like I started to re-engage here, you know, not too long ago, and then all of a sudden we have this thing happen with my friend Dale, and it makes you just recalibrate and just look at life like, okay. And I've kind of had this mentality for the last couple of years, and I don't know what changed, but all of a sudden, you know, PackerMaxx has been doing really well. You know, it has afforded me a lot of. We are incredibly blessed, and I thank the Lord for that every day. But you know, it's afforded me the opportunity to do some things that I want to do now while I can, not wait until I retire and then try to, you know, battle my way through with a bad knee or a bad back, or you know, you never know what's going to happen, as Dale found out. Right. And so it just kind of refocuses you on what's important. And you know, at the end of the day, you know, our property in Newaygo, I've had to re-examine what our goals are there. Like, okay, we're never going to shoot 150, 160 inch bucks there. It is not going to happen in my lifetime. So you know what? Let's take this property, and we had an Easter egg hunt up there over Easter. I mean, we had my wife said, I never thought I'd see the day when you'd let 11 grandkids run through your food. And I'm like, hey, I would have been freaking out 7 years ago. But you know what? That's not what it's about anymore. What it's going to be about is taking the kids up there, my grandkids. And last year, you guys probably saw the pictures of me with my granddaughter. Yep. You know, harvest that doe with my granddaughter. She, you know, that's priceless. The year before that, my grandson, one of my grandsons, shot his first buck. You know, a spike horn. Who cares? It was you know, you couldn't have smacked a smile off that kid's face, and just to be able to be in the blind with him and experience that is irreplaceable. And you know, through this whole thing, I have met some incredible people. You guys. You know, Mark Coleman, Robbie Pruitt, that dude, I'm telling you, there's not a better human being on the planet. Like, you know, I explained to him, you know, he works for Amazon. He's been a huge advocate for PackerMaxx. I explained to him, you know, this whole seed purchase company, you know, he could have turned his back and said, you know what, I can't support you anymore. You're going to be a competitor. No. You know what he did? He understands. I'm helping a friend, and, you know, I'm carrying on this person's legacy. And technically, yeah, we're going to be, we'll be both be in the seed business. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's plenty to go around.
Right.
And I respect him so much for the way he handled that, because I just tried to be honest with him. Like, hey, this is where we're at. And, I've met lifelong friends through this whole thing. And I guess at the end of the day, deer are just deer. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans. Yes, it's our passion. That's what we do. We always try and strive to do better. We want to take care of the earth. We want to take care of our herd. We want to feed our herd. We want to, have everything come full circle and harvest and eat our harvest. But it's no longer important or as important to what we end up harvesting. If I want to go shoot big deer, I have a lease in Ohio now. I have a lease in Illinois. I go to Saskatchewan. I'm going to Iowa this year. I can shoot my big deer out there.
Yep.
But the property, the family property, is now going to be just that. It's going to be for getting kids in the outdoors, spending time with my family in the outdoors. That's what it's going to be about. I had the opportunity to go to this Hunt to Heal property, which is very close to our property in Nuevo, and it is an amazing place. And they are doing some great things. And to be able to have somebody think enough of me to bring me into that program to go, okay, hey, we want your help with our food plot program. It meant the world to me, and I'm going to be able to help these people that are handicapped in one way or another, or struggling with something, to get out there and enjoy God's creation, and help make them share some of the abundance that I've been blessed with. So that's I guess it's just kind of been refocused, reevaluating what's important, and I'm not saying shooting big deer isn't important, because I still love big bucks, but it's just different when you start thinking about it. It's when you take the pressure off of yourself and reapply it to, okay, it's okay if I don't shoot a big one this year. I shot 3 big ones last year, so I'm good for a minute,
Right.
Like now, now it's going to be about getting my, hunting with my sons down in Ohio, and, a family on the property and grandkids. And so anyway.
I think
makes sense.
I think as we've gotten older and you look back as to where you've been, where you're going, I think all hunters, pretty much all hunters that I know go through that. Mm-hmm. They get to a point where, like, okay, I've done this. Now it's time for me to either pass it on to the kids or somebody new. But you're more, you're hey, let's talk about it. How can I help you become a better person, hunter out?
It's perspective,
there, right?
It's all perspective.
It's not necessarily about me anymore, right?
Yeah. Well, we see a lot of that, across the board. I won't say the hunting industry. I won't say the outdoor industry, but we see it all across the board. Even landowners. At some point, you got to let go of all the angst. My deer, or you shot a small one or whatever. It's like you said, like at the end of the day, it's a deer, and be happy with what you got. And life's just too short to sit and argue over things.
Like he talked about that spike, right?
Yeah.
And that smile on that youngster's face, like you said, you couldn't smack it off.
Right.
If it would have been a doe, probably been the same.
Yep.
It doesn't matter.
Right. And I'm not saying I'm not going to tease a 45-year-old man if he shoots a spike horn. I'll probably still tease him, but...
Yeah, but, and that's all good fun, too, I mean, it is what it is. That's part of camp.
Yeah, it's just, just like I said, and especially when you watch something, what happened with Dale, and just the progression of having to, witness that and experience that, and, talking to him almost day I just sold another PackerMaxx. Nice.
There you go.
Register noise.
What's that?
Can you hear that cash register noise on my phone?
I keep hearing it, ching, ching,
right?
Ching.
But exactly, it's perspective and how we pass that along. You can't take it with us, so
right.
look what you're doing for Dale, right? You're carrying on his legacy. in the logo.
That's
so
incredibly important to me to see to it that his legacy is continued through that, and his funeral is Friday, and I'm so thankful that we were able to get everything that we needed in from him, and I don't want to say he suspected. I think at the end of the day, as we talked, we both are realists and said, hey, there's a high probability that you may not come out of the hospital. I mean, both of us hated talking like that, but at the end of the day, that's the way it was. And he said, I want to write this up. I want to get this written up so that there's something that you have something, saying that you bought the company. And I'm like, all right, or are buying the company, and that was so not important to me at that point, but he said, we got to get something down on paper. So, yeah.
Right. It's that perspective, and things happen in life that makes you take that 3 steps back and look forward. Go, am I doing it right? Do I want to be going down this path?
Yeah. Well, in the last 3 years, my life's changed a lot, and my direction on things have changed. I've stepped away from a lot, and I'm going to continue to step away from a few more things because it's getting to be time for me to be able to enjoy, like you said, the grandkids, doing things with the grandkids, and looking forward to whatever years I got left, instead of sitting there arguing about something. It's just not worth it.
Exactly. So
yeah, it's like Danny going to Africa this year, and I'm going next year, and I never would have thought in a million years of that. Hey, I think I'm going to go to Africa, and now, I'm going to Africa.
Well, it literally was like that. It's like, no, I don't have any, inkling to go, and all of a sudden it was like,
he signed his name on it, dotted line.
Yeah, okay, I'm going.
Yep.
So, but and that's how it works. And we talked about even the trip in Alaska, right?
Yep.
That's hey, I'm going to talk to you more about that, by the way. But anyways, being perspective, we got some questions we need to ask him. He's been on before, but we can ask him like we did Robbie, because he played the show circuit.
Ah, okay. I see where you're going with that. Yeah.
Because we got to get his perspective now. We got it from Robbie.
Okay.
Right?
Right on.
So,
I'm good with that.
Right? So...
Do I need to put my seatbelt on?
No. He's not going to throw you under the bus. No, this is all good stuff.
Maybe under a cash register. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, you were at, I think you said 8 weeks in a row of show season, going nonstop here, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, wherever you might have been. If you did, what was one of the things in any of the shows that you saw, maybe it was an item, maybe you saw something happen, that you just kind of looked at and went, hum?
Good or bad? Hum. He just went, There you go.
A lot of things that shows. I'm a really good salesman, but I'm also a really good at being sold.
All right, what did you get sold?
So I've been wanting a spotting scope, and Robbie at the Indiana show said, "Hey, check out my new spotting scope," and I went, "Huh?" And it's this sweet, compact Hawk spotting scope, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, "Where'd you get this?" And he's like, "Oh, right down over there, Hawk boost right down there." So he goes, "He's got one left." So I went right over there, and I bought it.
And then when you walked away, the guy went, "Nope, and here's the last one I got now."
Right. And that spot scope is so cool, and it's just super compact. I mean, I literally have it in my center console in my truck, and it's there. I'd be cruising on the road the other day, and I just, check out the deer back there. I got the little window thing, and I'm looking at them, and I don't know. I don't know why that stands out. The other thing is, so you see all these products and these blinds and all this stuff, but one thing that stood out to me, and I'm not just saying this because Scott is maybe listening, but that extension saw that they have, the Easy Cut has, extension saw is money, and I'm going to own one, and I'll probably buy them, you know, and I'll go shopping in my shop one day and buy one from my shop. but that's one other product that I step back and went, yeah, that is sweet.
That extension saw will cut your finger off.
Yeah, I did it live here in the studio one night during the podcast. I had the blade, and I went to turn to him, and he stuck his hand out at the same time, and I laid it open.
I was bleeding like being
miserable.
It was awesome. So okay, so that's your hum moment. Now, well, you spend all day at these shows, and you gotta eat. Now, are you one to have something from the show food,
or you go out?
So, number one, when you do that many shows, and I'm already fat enough, I don't need any fat, and you can eat. They have nothing but garbage, and I am gluten free. I'm allergic to gluten, and so there's almost nothing that I can eat at a show. And so I bring food in. We bring a cooler in. We bring drinks in a cooler and sandwiches. My son and I would make wraps the night before. Those wraps are really convenient for shows because you can set it down, you know, take it out of the bag, eat some of it. If somebody walks up, you can set the thing down and, you know, go back to it. So we take wraps with us, and that's what we eat at our shows, except for, now Robbie turned me on to this, the Wisconsin show does not allow you to bring in food and beverage at the Wisconsin Dell show in the Kalahari Resort.
Okay.
Because they want you to buy Kalahari stuff. Well, Robbie's done it a few years. I didn't know any better, but he brings a cooler in when he sets up and puts it under his table. I don't want to call them out if they're listening. Great idea. But so that's what we started doing. And at the Kalahari, we actually stayed. Our room, we stayed at the resort, and our room was literally about a 1-minute walk to our booth, so it was perfect. So I could go back to the room and grab a sandwich or a drink. But
nice.
And meanwhile, next year Robbie's going to get stopped at the door,
right? You two guys.
You could put some stuff in our refrigerator in our room if you wanted to, but yeah, that's
okay.
And it'll get you, and it's expensive, and you spend a lot of money on these shows, you really do, and man, if you were eating at the show and spending $7 on a hamburger and a hot dog and a bag of chips, or $10. I paid $12 for a walking taco at the Kalahari.
Wow.
Yep.
Scott from Music Cat said the same thing. He said wraps are wheat also. So.
And he also says, all right, Lincoln, let's go. So
they make gluten-free wraps. I get gluten-free wraps.
Right, exactly. So when you're out traveling all these states, best spot you stopped at for food?
So like on any like during show season?
You're traveling to Iowa, you're traveling to Wisconsin, or you're at the show, and you're with Robbie, and he says, well, let's go eat over here.
I wish I could remember the name of it, but the Robbie and I and Floyd, what's his, gosh, I can't remember the name of the restaurant. We went there, and that was probably one of the best. Robbie could tell you what it was because he's eaten there before, but dang it, what was the name of that place?
Steak place?
It was they had pizza, they had steak, they had everything.
All right.
That was a cool. I can't remember the name of it though. I'm sorry.
Well, I tipped him off to a restaurant down in Gulf Shores. Did you go to the Cobalt down in Orange Beach?
Yep.
What'd you think of that?
It's a great place. So we go to the Cobalt, the Gulf across the street.
Yep.
Where all those blue containers are. That's a place. Gosh, there's 3 or 4 down there that are really, really good that we eat at regularly. Yeah. I did gain weight while I was down there too.
It's easy to do, man. It's easy to do. Are you going back next year?
So, yes, we're going to go back to Gulf Shores. I don't know. We might go a week earlier or a week later. Just either trying to get away from that spring break just a little bit. But then in Gulf Shores, you still run into you can run into, as you are aware, the colder weather. So
yes,
but
you had that last year. You had, I think you ran in. Was it snowing when it snowed the day we left?
Yeah, it was not nice.
It was not nice.
I got it all nice and warm, and then Lincoln comes into town and it snows. But no, this year wasn't bad. I mean, we had a couple chilly mornings, but it wasn't real bad. Yeah. We're going a week later this year. We're going to go that last week of March. All right, next year.
Yeah, we were on the back end. The week before we went down, it was in the 80s. We got there and it was in the 50s. I was sitting on the beach. It was sunny and 57, which was still better than Michigan. But, really?
Right? It's not what you expect,
Absolutely.
Drive 9 hours. I freaking missed our turn. End up in Mississippi. Got to go back. I get out. It's 57 degrees.
Michigan to Gulf Shores, Alabama via Mississippi.
Right. Yeah, but don't
Atlanta.
Atlanta. You got it. Yeah. He zigzagged it.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know what, Lincoln? Want to thank you for coming on. We've had a great hour plus talking with you as we always do. But just to remind everybody, get on over to PackerMaxx.com. Check out the PackerMaxx, what he's got over there. I'm sure we're going to have Lincoln on again. Go over to Facebook. Check out his Facebook page there. And now also 5-2 Outdoor.
Thank you for guys. It's always a pleasure, and and again, I want to reiterate, the good that you guys have done for the outdoor industry, outdoors. You guys are just salt of the earth people, and I've appreciated your friendship all along. And just keep up the good work. Congratulations on 17 seasons. It's an honor for me to be on the show on the anniversary day. So that's pretty cool.
Yep. Well, I tell you what, how about we make that post that you made a post a little bit ago. We make if you invite Robbie and I and Mike with our campers over to wherever you're thinking of, we have an October rendezvous over there or something.
We can do that for sure.
What could go wrong with that, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm just thinking. What could go wrong with that?
Right.
So definitely have some fun.
Thanks for dedicating the show to Dale too. That means a lot to me.
Hey,
absolutely
glad to do that. It's the least we can do, So, prayers and shout out to their family, man. It's never easy. It's never easy.
So thank you.
Well, that's going to do it for us tonight. Hang on afterwards. Lincoln will chat real quick after we wrap here. But for those of you who are listening on the podcast, as always, we'd like, if you're listening over on iTunes, make sure you give us a review. That will help the people like Lincoln who support us and helps them in return as well. And if you're listening here on the live stream, make sure you smash that like button, the follow. Give us a share the show as well. Do the same for all of Lincoln's social media pages as well. So next week, Danny, we got something kind of special. This is going to actually showcase your trip. Am I right?
Yeah, we're going to be talking with Dave Wilkins of Drop Tine Outdoor Adventures. I'm going to be taking a little 10-day trip out of the country.
That means I get a 2-week break, folks.
You're going to miss me.
I got 2 weeks. Actually, seriously, though, there's going to be 2 weeks that we're not going to do a podcast unless I conjure up something between that time that he comes back. He's going to be out of the country for a few days, right? So
stay tuned. We'll talk all about it next week, what's going to happen, and we'll see.
We'll see. Right. Okay.
All right. About it, man. I am. That's going to be sweet.
And then when Lincoln goes on his trip, we're going to have him back on and talk about his experience.
There you go.
Right.
So,
yep.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us this week. Make sure you tune in next Wednesday night, 7:30, right here on Facebook. That'll do it for us this week. We'll see y'all next week.
This episode was brought to you by PSC Archery,
Deer Camp Coffee,
Buck Baits,
JPO Game Calls,
The Island Armory,
PackerMaxx,
Sunrise Archery,
and C3 Better the Hunt Technology.
Thanks for listening, and join us again here next week. Until then, remember, as we always like to say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, shoot straight and be safe. Until next week on the Up North Journal.